Hello class, for today I'm going to be going over document B with you so that we can learn how to read it together and we can learn how to look at the different sections. So document B is a survey of British school teachers, as you can see. This means that teachers were interviewed for this information. It's broken up into 3 sections. So we are going to focus on the first one. The first question is, have you ever been a victim of cyberbullying by either mobile phones, that's a cell phone, email, or over the internet? Out of these teachers who were surveyed, and I want to say, doesn't say here how many, but out of these teachers who were surveyed, 15% answered yes, they have been a victim of cyberbullying, while 84, let me see if it'll focus here. There we go. 84.9% said no, I have not been bullied. Okay, and the next section says, who was the perpetrator of this cyberbullying? Perpetrator is a word that we are going to focus on also. So if I look at the word perpetrator, and let me focus in on it again for you. Perpetrator is somebody who commits an act that is either wrong or illegal. In this case, it would be the person who is the bully, the perpetrator. They are the ones committing the act of cyberbullying. So they asked the teachers, who is the person? Who is the perpetrator that is cyberbullying you? Please mark all that respond. Here were the options, and these are what the teachers listed. In some cases, it was the pupil. That means it was their students. Some cases it was a manager, so whoever is in charge of the teacher, like their supervisor. In another case it was a colleague, which means another co-worker or another teacher was bullying them. It could have been the pupil's parent, so a student's parent. And the last option says they don't know, because the issue with cyberbullying, class, is that it allows the bully to be anonymous sometimes. It allows the bully to hide their identity, and it makes it that much harder to stop. Now, these are just the options of who was doing the bullying. Now let's look at the percentages and see which ones were the highest. So I'm going to zoom out a bit, and I know it's not the greatest quality of the photo, but if we look at the percentages listed over here, most of the time, 44.2% of the time, it was the student who was bullying the teacher over the internet or phone or email. And the next highest one was a colleague, so a co-worker of the teachers. And the next highest one was actually they didn't know. So somebody was bullying them anonymously, so hiding their identity. So if I were to rank these in order of who was bullying them the most, first one would be students. Second one would be this anonymous, don't know. Third would be colleagues. Fourth would be parents. And fifth would be managers. So we looked at whether they've been bullied or not, who was doing the bullying. Now we're going to look at the impact of that bullying. The last question says, how did this bullying affect you? Please mark all that apply. So I'm going to go over those reasons with you, okay? Let me see. Some teachers said that this bullying had no effect on them, which is great. I mean, it didn't affect them. That's awesome, because it can be very traumatic. Another option that teachers listed was that it reduced their confidence and self-esteem, meaning that these teachers became less confident in the job that they were doing. Teachers have to know what they are talking about, okay? And they have to be confident in what we are teaching you. And after some of these teachers were bullied, they lost a little bit of that confidence in their job and their abilities. There was reduced productivity or teaching effectiveness. Again, they didn't feel like they were doing as good of a job at teaching because this cyberbullying was on their mind. If you've ever been picked on by somebody, you know that sometimes it's hard to ignore. And if you are constantly being sent, messages, pictures, videos that are bullying you, it's hard to focus on your job. Some teachers stated that they were ill or stressed but continued to work. This actually made them sick. They were stressed out. They continued to work anyway, but still, nobody should be feeling sick because of bullying. Some teachers said that this affected their home life, which means, again, they're so worried about getting cyberbullied over the internet that it's affecting how they're interacting with their loved ones or family or friends at home. It's hard to not focus on anything else but that. So this was actually affecting their home life and how they're dealing with family members, how they're interacting with family members at home. Some teachers said they had to go to the doctor, took a sick leave. They were suffering. It actually made them very ill to where they went to the doctor because of this illness or stress. Some teachers became scared outside of work. This means that they feared for their safety outside of work. They didn't know if somebody was going to attack them or harm them or, confront them outside of work. And let's look at the percentages. So the highest one, it looks like if I zoom in over here, there's a tie for first place. So having no effect and reducing confidence, looks like those are both tied for first place. The next highest one would be at 25%, making teachers feel ill or stressed. The next one at 19.3% is affecting their home life. Then at 15.9%, reduced teaching effectiveness. 12.5% had to go to the doctor. That'd be fifth. And the lowest one was becoming scared outside of work. As you can see, though, these are all serious effects that cyberbullying can have, not just on students. These are actually adults here, okay? The next step I want you to do, you're going to read through these questions. I want you to use the sentence frames that I have provided, and I want you to answer these questions in your notebook on your own first. We will share after, okay? So answer all of these questions. Use my sentence frames that are on the projector screen, and we will share afterwards.